Welcome to the Hybrid Soul. My name is Spark. This is my partner in crime, Russell. And today we want to pick up where we left off in the last video. And we were talking about how important you should be with your words and how powerful your words are. The words that you're speaking are creating the reality that you're living into. Your subconscious mind is always listening. It's always listening to your internal dialogue, and it actually doesn't know the difference between what is reality and what is not. So the conversations you're having, your subconscious brain is just constantly, or your subconscious mind is constantly listening. But there's actually a deeper layer to this, why people a lot of times don't succeed.
Yeah. Here, I'll pretend that I was your subconscious mind and I was just listening to you as you were talking.
Oh, I knew it'd be something.
This is what me as your subconscious mind is thinking now. Is what's the crime? How am I your partner in crime, and what is the crime that we're committing?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I never thought about that before.
I thought about it a bit.
Maybe I should stop saying that.
Maybe, but I just think about this day and age and everything that's going on, and not even this day and age, man. This has been history. Like, history is full of this stuff, right? If you look at some of it. And this is our crime. And if I'm your partner in crime, our crime is that all we're up to is trying to just have conversations and be honest, right? And in a world that's based on a lot of manipulation, let's say, and a lot of fear of speaking truthfully and honestly, and we're in a society where truth is a crime, it seems like.
It is.
So I will accept the fact that we're partners in crime, but I just had to define what our crime is, and our crime is, if we have a crime, that's my crime. What do you think?
That's a really good one, Ross. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, so so a lot of it is like practice listening, right? Or just practicing listening. So practicing listening to yourself and practice listening to who you're talking to. And then if your intention is that, I want to be beneficial for the person that I'm speaking with and I'm listening to them. So the first thing is really listening, right? So if I'm actually interested in being of any benefit, well, I best be listening instead of trying to think about what I'm going to say. So I find it's easy with you. I like listening to you. So some people are harder to listen to, but you can hear what they're saying.
So let's speak a little bit about that next layer down and where people get bogged down when they start changing the way that they're speaking. What's happening?
Oh, God. So we were talking about this a little bit, right? So I started thinking about, so I consciously understood that it's better to be positive than negative, and I consciously understood that it's better to repeat positive things to myself than negative. And then I started to consciously understand, but maybe that none of it is negative, because if I can see that some of the negative stuff actually pushed me to become positive, then, so that's something else I thought about. And then it's this. Then it comes down to, do I believe it? Right?
Yes.
So I could say, so if I really feel like, I say, geez, I'm just going to focus on what I'm grateful for, and I just think about what is good instead of what is bad. So when I'm thinking about, well, I got working arms and legs, my eyesight, I can see at least, even though I got glasses, I'm grateful for this. I'm really lucky. Like we talked about, I said, I got up this morning, I woke up, I'm not in like chronic pain or anything. I'm really grateful and lucky for that. So I think that it's not just consciously knowing and then it's repeating. So consciously figure out something, then consciously repeat it, but then it's really
a feeling.
Yeah, but it's belief, right? As I'm not saying that I'm grateful, trying to convince myself, right? There's a lot of that imposter syndrome people talk about, or fake it until you make it. But when I say that I'm grateful for these things, man, it's not that I'm faking it to make it. It's not that I'm saying it to convince myself. I truly believe it. So I truly have a feeling of gratitude, man. I'm really lucky. I'm not saying it because I want to convince myself. I just feel it in my core. I really believe it. I just believe that. I know, not even believe it. Oh, I know it. I know I am.
We're living in a world of infinite possibilities, and the moment that you surrender, amazing things starts happening. And one of the biggest struggles you have with changing how you speak and trying to foster a feeling of gratitude is the ego.
Yeah, but look, you may have said this the last time we were chatting, right? Is that you feel like you're lying to yourself.
Yes, but that's your ego. It's self-sabotage. Because
Well,
I mean,
what you
just
believe,
one sec.
hold on, no. What you believe and what you're saying is not in alignment, right? So I'm just saying that if you got to truly find what to be grateful for, so when you say it and you feel it, you believe it, and you know that you're lucky, you know that you are, man, you know it.
Yeah.
And again, like you say, maybe it takes time, and maybe it's lots of practice, and as you speak certain things, maybe it starts to click and you start to figure it out, right? But for me personally, it wasn't as much trying to trick my subconscious mind into believing some of these things. It was true. I just couldn't see it. So I had to expand my perception of things and my focus, and it was slower than I wanted it to be. But now, through my eyes and through my perception, I don't believe that I'm lucky, man, and I don't believe that there's things to be grateful. I just know it. I just know it because I can see it. I can see it and I can feel it. So I don't doubt it for a second.
No, and what I was going to say is that the ego shuts you down in the beginning when you start, and you start coming up with all these excuses of why you shouldn't be grateful. But I don't have this and I don't have that, and you know what I mean? I don't look like this, and I'm not friends with this person. And that is your ego. It's self-sabotage because your ego thrives off your misery.
Not just your misery, though. Your misery is, I think, I don't know for certain, but I would say one of the first things that pops in my mind thinking about ego is that your ego is wanting you to look outside of yourself and compare. You're always in comparison. Your ego is comparing situations. It's comparing you to your past. It's comparing you now to your future. And it keeps you from actually living and being where you are. The ego is never in the now. The ego is always somewhere else. And not even in a negative way. Like, well, I know it's hard for me to even say negative or positive about that, but it's just that because the ego, even it's not in the now, but the ego could be in the future. But your ego could be pushing you to become something greater or something better, right? In the now, though, your ego has you messed up because you're not that yet. So your ego is making you thinking that you're lacking something. I'm not saying that the ego is bad, because people with an ego could go on to do like fantastic things because their ego.
You can never get rid of it.
No, exactly. So I just don't like to say bad things about the ego. The ego is fine. The ego is like everything else that's bopping around. It's all fine. It's all cool.
It is fine, Russell, but I think one of the major shifts in my life was just becoming aware of the workings of the ego and having those internal dialogue conversations that were super positive, and really, really monitoring myself and, monitoring situations when my ego would get flared up. And I'm like, what is that about? Why is that making me so angry? And, once you basically become the watcher, and then you go to the next level and you become the watcher of the watcher, shit changes. Right? Because you start taking accountability for yourself and extreme ownership over all the adversity and shit that happened in your life, and understand that you created it. You created it. What are you smiling about?
Well, I'm just thinking of layers of what you said.
But,
look, I won't say what I was going to say, because you got to start somewhere, right? So I would say you're right. You're exactly right. And that's where you got to start.
You just got to start watching yourself. Everything outside of us is just a distraction, right? It keeps us from ourselves. As humans, we are powerful beyond measure. And that's a lot of the distraction that's happening on the planet today is basically just a distraction from yourself. Because I'm going to tell you, when you decide that you're going to change and things are going to be amazing, and your life is going to be bountiful and abundant, and you're going to have everything you want, that's exactly what is going to happen. And nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop it. And that is what all the distraction is about. Because we are powerful. Do you have anything to add to that?
I've got, yeah, you know.
Well, we'll do another video.
No, I agree. Well, like you say, so you got to start somewhere, and that's really good. But you might get to the point where you might see that the whole idea of even being powerful or non-powerful or whatever, that none of that even matters either, right?
No, well, and it's steps, Russell. I mean, look at, we've been 10 years on this journey, basically to just trying to evolve into better, whatever that means. And, you know, it's been a lot of adversity. We fell down a lot, and we had to pick ourselves back up again. And it hasn't been an easy journey, but nothing worthwhile is.
Well, yeah, possibly. So what I'm saying to you is this: it's just the whole I'm agreeing with mostly what you're saying and stuff, but the whole idea of someone trying to convince themselves, or even that they have to be powerful, or that they are powerful, or that they should be powerful, or I have the ability to be super powerful being or whatever. With that comes an expectation. With that comes an attachment to being that. And all I'm just saying is that attachment can lead to expectations. So all I'm saying is be grateful and do gratitude and just know.
So let's revise powerful. Let's just revise that. What I mean when I say that we're powerful beings is that we actually hold the key. So if you want to be happy, choose happy. If you want to be abundant, choose abundant. If you want to have amazing friends, choose amazing friends. It all comes down to choices that we make. So, I mean, let's remove powerful being. Let's just add, we get to choose. We get to create a life by design. Nobody else creates it for us unless we let them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Because everything is suggestions, right?
Absolutely.
Everything has been suggested to you. So it's a suggestion that you should be more than what you are, or a suggestion that this is not good enough right now, or a suggestion that things are going bad. So those are all suggestions. A suggestion that you should do this to get along with society, and a suggestion that you shouldn't do this. It's all suggestions. So there's always coming to that, trying to figure out yourself and know yourself personally first, and try to figure out some of that stuff. Once you get into that a little bit, then you start to see stuff a little bit differently.
Well, I mean, I look at me and you and our relationship over the last 10 years, and it's been horribly magnificent, right? I mean, there's always adversities and there's always obstacles. It's all about how you look at it and the choices that you make when you're faced with those adversities. And I'd like to leave you with that today, you know. Take some time to ponder that in your life. And because I tell you, when you start to come to an understanding that we actually make the choices and we have choices, it's powerful.
And not just that though, too. I think a lot of people may be judging themselves too harshly, right?
Yes.
Because, you know, if you're sat here watching this right now, you just made something happen, or something has drawn you to watch this, let's say. And something will draw you to something else after this. And so just wait for a little bit. Don't get bent out of shape. You're probably like this close to breaking through to something really great, right? And yeah, as powerful as you are, there's something even more powerful that's probably moving you around a little bit.
Yes.
So that's what links us to what's going on internally. So if you're grateful and you're feeling you can see things to be grateful, and you really appreciate the things that you do have, that's the energy, and that's where you'll continue to go, is to see things and find things that you can be grateful for.
I love it.
And you said too, but you get to choose. So if you want to choose to just focus on what's bad, focus on, like you say, what you don't have, or focus on how things could be better, well, then you'll always have a feeling of could be.
Lack.
Yeah.
And that's what will be in your life. And we'll talk a little bit about that the next time. So guys, what is more amazing, more powerful, and more beautiful than you? Absolutely nothing.